Hey everybody, it's Sarah with Coffee Knits with Sarah. I'm a stay-at-home mom, a knitter, a gardener, and a lover of all things fiber arts related, and sheep and alpacas and just anything like that. And today we're really talking about my first time at the New York Sheep and Wool Festival in New York, Rhinebeck, New York to be specific. And today is Friday, so it's only been a few days since I got back from the festival over the past weekend. And while it's all fresh in my brain, I wanted to share it with you. There's so many other people out there who are eagerly sharing everything. Like, I know I'm not the first person basically to be talking about this. There's a lot of people out there. But welcome if you're new to my little corner of the internet. And if you're a returning subscriber, thank you for being here. I'm really excited to chat about New York Sheep and Wool Festival, as well as A Woolen Affair, and just my time spent in upstate New York with my friends, and just the perspective from a first-time attendee. So if any of that sounds interesting, I hope you'll stick around and keep watching. As I said, this was my first New York Sheep and Wool Festival, and it did not disappoint. I went with 4 other wonderful friends and women. We actually started the drive on Wednesday, stayed the night somewhere in Pennsylvania, and then kept trekking all the way to New York. For context, I'm based in Metro Detroit, so it was a pretty long drive. We rented a big Suburban and loaded everything up. We packed snacks and a cooler bag full of goodies. And most of us were no stranger to like long road trips, so we were really excited about it and got lots of car knitting in. And then when we arrived to our final destination, our Airbnb in Pawling, New York, which was close to the border with Connecticut actually, about an hour from Rhinebeck, New York itself, and the Dutchess County Fairgrounds where the event happens, we decided to go and grocery shop because we wanted to be a bit frugal and not just eat out, even though that would have been lovely, not, cooking all the time. But it's also really nice to just enjoy the benefits of staying at a home like an Airbnb and use the kitchen and cook meals together and just stay inside and knit and all of that. So we did that and we made a gorgeous dinner, but kind of a funny story happened while we were cooking. We unloaded all the groceries. This is like such a random side conversation, but I think I'd be remiss not to tell this story. It kind of sets the tone for the whole weekend. Basically, we were unloading groceries onto the counter and I watched a small mouse, yes, you heard that right, a mouse, a field mouse, crawl up the side of the kitchen cabinets onto the top of the counter where we had just unloaded apples, bananas, bread, crackers, cheese, and it was hiding behind this KitchenAid on the counter. I have no photo evidence or video footage of this happening. We were all screaming and in a panic really about what to do. Not because the mouse was scary to us, but really just we're in a new environment. What are we supposed to do? So a few of us got together and we tried to trap this mouse, and let's just say it was very hilarious. Looking back, in the moment, it was not funny at all. But we did eventually trap this mouse in the closet because it was not easily trapped on the counter. Let's just say it dive bombed off the kitchen counter, jumped over my friend Terry's hands, which she had gloves on. She was trying to catch it, and it just like I'm trying to think of a good like a good movie or something, but it was like I don't know, like motorcycle diving off of a cliff, like Mission Impossible style. It was the craziest thing I've ever seen. I didn't know a mouse could do that. And yeah, it ran into the closet and we trapped it, and then we called the Airbnb owner, and he sent someone over a little bit later to set out traps and deal with the mouse. But we actually found another mouse. And then basically, long story short, I'm trying to wrap it up. We figured out that the mice were coming in through an AC unit that the homeowners had set up, and we took that out and we didn't have any more mice. But that was kind of a wild roller coaster ride when we got to the Airbnb itself. I grew up, like many of you might know, on a farm. So not a stranger to mice, but definitely not a great way to begin the trip. Like, our heart rates were pounding out of our chest. Anywho, that's just part of living on a farm, I guess, but just really crazy. But we sat down and had a great dinner. We like obviously disinfected everything. And, you know, one of the mice got to like go back out and live his best life in the woods. And then the other mouse just kind of hung out in the closet for a while. That evening we got to sit and knit and really enjoy our time together and settle in. And I got to work on my baby blanket that I'm knitting for my good friends, which I'll show you in a future episode when I talk about my whips. And then we woke up the next day, Friday, October 17th. I'm looking at like my notes. And we took a leisurely morning, just cooked a really good breakfast, and decided to make our way to A Woolen Affair.
Tell me about your Rhinebeck sweater.
Today is A Woolen Affair, day one of my first Rhinebeck experience. And I am wearing some nice linen pants. I'm wearing my Cocoa Tee by Sari Nordland knit in my Guinness, which is Explore Knits and Fibers colorway. And why am I blanking on the shawl? You know what shawl I'm wearing. I just talked about it recently on the podcast. But yeah, I'm decked out. I got my cuff as well. And this is the fit. Love it. And here I have the big, huge brochure with like the vendors on the inside. I mean, how gorgeous is this? Colorful sheep and everything. But inside, you'll see the map of all the vendors. It was a really beautifully executed event, sponsored by many people, like Pearl Soho, but Brooklyn General is kind of the main one, I believe. And yeah, we had tickets for the 2 p.m. entry. We decided to just be chill and not try to cram everything in. There's a couple other events that happen on the Friday before Rhinebeck New York Sheep and Wool starts, and the people I traveled with, they had gone to those events in the past and they had crammed it all in. And I don't think there's anything wrong with doing that, but I personally was on kind of a tight budget. I wasn't trying to like max out my credit cards taking this trip. This was very much a once in a lifetime trip for me. I would love to go every year. I think that's a dream, but it's just not the reality of where I am in life. Who knows where I'll be at next year, but for now, this was like my one big trip, but it was done, you know, with being money conscious in mind. So I appreciated that we didn't buy tickets for every event, because there is a small cost to enter the events, on top of, New York Sheep and Wool and all the stuff you might want to buy. But the event, A Woolen Affair, it took place in, I'm looking it up, Hutton Brickyards, Kingston, New York. It's right along the river, and it's gorgeous. I will, again, probably insert a video clip of the water or whatever I have, whatever I took there. I'm trying to look up how many vendors there were. Maybe it's in here, actually. Does it say how many vendors there were? Apologies if you can hear a loud cement truck going by, because that's happening. Today is Friday, and usually I record on like a Saturday when it's a little quieter. So it looks like there was 39 vendors. There might be a few more vendors there, but I really loved the way that it was laid out. Everything was mostly like indoors, in a way. Like there were tents, so it was outside. I don't know how to describe it, and it was my first time, so I don't really have all the details, I guess, about it, but it's like an old brickyard, and so these buildings still exist, but they're all open, and then the tents were underneath them. And one thing I really loved about A Woolen Affair was that each tent had a sign, that I think, I'm blanking on their names, but maybe I'll insert it. One of the vendors or sponsors made these signs. They were all uniform, and it was just very easy to see who you wanted to go visit, because obviously you have your own signage, that you bring to these events if you're a vendor, but having those signs kind of hang outside the tent when you're walking up and down all those aisles and there's crowds of people, it was just very easy to be like, oh yeah, that's Explore Knits and Fibers. Oh, that's Botanical Yarns. Oh, that's Shelly Can. Like, I want to go to these people. Obviously the map helped too, but just kind of a random thought there about, from like my event planning background, how to, I don't know, make it very accessible and easy for people to find what they're looking for. So while we were there, we kind of just meandered and split up and did our own things. I got right away, there was a Hobie, apologies if I'm not saying that right, Hobie yarn tent, and I got this tote bag. Doo-doo-doo. I like the other side with the fun yarn. And they had a big wheel that you could spin for free goodies, and I got to pick out 2 free balls of yarn, skeins of yarn, and I picked out these. I think like a mauve-y purple and kind of a brown purple as well. It's the Copenhagen Fibers Merino and then the Copenhagen Fibers Silk Mohair. And I've never knit with this, which I think is the point. I think it's newer yarn, but I've knit a hat with this kind of combo before, and I really enjoyed it. So I was kind of thinking when I got it that I would knit a hat either for myself or for someone else. Like I've knit the Oslo hat, and I have knit, where is it? The Kobuk hat. Both of those were using like a mohair held with something combo. And here in Michigan, it gets really chilly and hats are very nice. and I haven't knit one in a while. So I'm kind of thinking I should do like some accessories. The other idea I had was knitting one of Sari Nordland's little handkerchief mini shawls, because I knit one last year for my mom and she really liked it, and I would like to knit one for myself. So I don't know if this is enough yarn for that, but that's an idea I had. And I really, like, as you can tell, I really do like purple, which, by the way, I think my brain just like clicked on because now I'm on a roll. By the way, this pattern is the Livy shawl by Tammy Gore. I knit this back in 2019, a really long time ago now. And it's in the Ba yarn La Jolla. And I bought this yarn from a yarn store in like the Smoky Mountains when I was there on a trip, on a vacation. And I really love it. It's one of my favorite little shawls. Okay, back to A Woolen Affair. What else did I buy there? Oh, okay. There's yarn sitting right in front of me. Hold on. Ay, Sarah. I'm put together, but I'm like not put together, you know? So when I left home, many of you know I have 2 daughters, and their ages, like my oldest just turned 4 and my youngest is 2.5. They're 18 months apart. And basically, when I left, I said, you know, what yarn would you like me to buy for you for a hat? Because my eldest saw my husband wear his 1x1 rib Pearl Soho hat that I knit for him again last year. And she said, you know, Dad, I love your hat. And he said, thanks, Mama made it. And she said, oh, I want Mama to make me a hat. So ding, ding, that's what I'm gonna do. And her favorite color is red. So no surprise, when I left the house, I said, what color yarn do you want me to buy for you for a hat? She said red. And my youngest said pink. So the first yarn that I came across was this beauty. Look at how gorgeous this pink yarn is. It's from Botanical Yarn. They're based in the UK. I've been a great admirer of her work on social media for quite a while. This is DK Superwash, 85 Merino, 15% Donegal. Excuse me. And it's 212 meters, about 100 grams. The coolest thing about this is that it glows in the dark, which how perfect for my 2.5-year-old, who we affectionately call the wild child, to have a glow in the dark hat, so that when she's like running around, I mean, really aren't running around at night, but like theoretically, if we were out and about in the evening in the wintertime, I could maybe see it, like it would be glowing in the dark. So I am excited to cast this on. I don't know exactly what hat pattern I'm going to knit, so please send me any recommendations. I think something with ear flaps would be really practical, but I don't think it's a must. Honestly, I was thinking I would just do a 1x1 rib hat because my kids really liked that version that I made for my husband, but I think it would be more fun to do something else. I'm just not locked into like 1x1 rib because, let's be honest, that's kind of basic and boring. I mean, there's a time and place for it, right? But like kids' hats, I could probably do more, right? So what else was I gonna say before I move on? I saw a very pale pink in the booth, and at first I was drawn to that. And then as I, was in there longer, I picked this one up, and then I started talking to one of the people working the booth and explaining to her that it was for my daughter, and she's 2.5, and she just encouraged me to get something for her. Like, what would my daughter love? And this is what she would love. What I would love is more of a soft pink. So I'm really like pushing myself out of my comfort zone as I knit for my kids, because they love color, and I'm excited to embrace color more and more as we grow as a family. And anyways, I could go on and be sappy about that. The other yarn I got there, I feel like this is going to be the longest video ever, so stay with me. The other yarn I got is this gorgeous red from Explore Knits and Fibers. It's the color Heirloom. I mean, this is like the epitome of the perfect red, right? When my daughter saw it, she gasped, like she did the whole, I wish I had recorded it, honestly, but I was like living in the moment. Whatever. It was like the cutest thing. Both of them, their reactions were priceless. And yeah, I have long been a supporter of Allie and Explore Knits and Fibers since, she was dyeing yarn in her basement in, I believe, Illinois, before she moved to Colorado and even like expanded the business. And I think you've seen that I have quite the collection of her yarn. So it was really nice to see Allie and give her a hug and support her a little bit by getting her yarn for my eldest daughter, and then this pink yarn from Botanical Yarns. So those were probably the most fun little purchases. The other thing I picked up while I was there was this yarn by Terrapin Fibers. I hope I'm in frame. This yarn is called Blueberry Hill and Verdant. The cool thing about Terrapin, this is a new to me dyer, is that they're based in Maryland. And if you've been around, you'll know that that's where we lived for almost 10 years before moving home to Michigan. And that's where we are now. So I had a really lovely chat with the dyer behind Terrapin Yarns Terrapin Fiberworks about Maryland. And like I told her where we lived, and she told me where she has her studio, and just talked about the weather and how like humid and swampy it is kind of down there. But how much I miss a lot of things about living on the East Coast and that particular part of the country. And I just thought that this yarn reminded me a lot about that time in my life. So this is 40% organic cotton, 40% tencel, and 20% elastic. So it's also just a type of yarn that I've never worked with before. So I think the idea is, that this is a sock set, but we'll see what becomes of it. If you have any ideas, please let me know. But these colors are like my cup of tea, the blues and the greens. I also got this adorable sticker. Let's see if it's showing up. I hope it's focusing. But it's the cutest little turtle carrying a ball of yarn. I love stickers and little swag type things. My friend Terry also went to the Shelly Can booth, and she picked us up these stickers. I think they're hilarious. So all of us ladies who went got this Salty Bitches sticker. I think that kind of captures the essence of our group. And let's see, did I get anything else? Yes, I did. Okay, I have it like laying on the floor, so that's why I keep reaching down there, but also so much happening. Okay, so the next thing was like a pretty big thing. I got this coffee mug. It's just the cutest little sheep you've ever seen. Have a sip. I'm drinking chamomile tea with honey. But this is from Golden Earth Pottery. And I also got these cute stickers from her. So cute. So she actually did a limited batch of pre-ordered mugs that were specifically made for A Woolen Affair. And I fell in love with them immediately, thought long and hard about buying one, and then decided to just not. And so when I went to her booth, I was thrilled to see such a great selection of gorgeous pottery still there, because as I said, we didn't go till the afternoon, and I just wasn't sure like how much would be there still. And I got just like exactly what I wanted, like this cute little sheep mug. I think it's adorable, and I'm excited to use it for coffee. It's already like my go-to coffee mug. Sorry, I think my husband, I think one of my kids just woke up from her nap. Okay, so where was I? That like threw me for a loop. So after A Woolen Affair ended, which I was sad that event didn't last forever because it was really gorgeous. But after that event ended, wow. We went to a store called Fab Yarn, or Fabulous Yarns, I think. I'm not sure where it is located, so I didn't do like any of the driving. I was a passenger princess, and also the only one who had never been to any of these things before. So I just kind of trusted blindly my great friends to lead me and show me a great time. And I was just going with the flow. So anyways, we went to this yarn store called Fab Yarn, and Terry, she knits hats in the Pittsburgh area and sells them. And specifically, she knits with a lot of like Malabrigo and some of those chunky yarns. And this yarn store stocks a lot of it. And she ordered like a pre-order bag that they were doing a special like Rhinebeck thing. And then they also had, I believe, 30% off everything in the store. So as I helped her get all her yarn, which I will insert a picture of just how much yarn, it was like buckets full of yarn. I was honestly having so much fun with her shopping because I don't knit with that yarn anymore, and now I kind of do. And it was just so colorful and happy. I just loved it. And it was just a blast because they were closing the store and we were like supermarket sweeping it, trying to buy like as much as we could. Again, I'll show some pictures, but I, at the last minute, saw this pretty Hedgehog Fibers yarn. It's 90% merino wool and 10% nylon. I've never knit with Hedgehog Fibers before, but I've seen many people tour, like on YouTube, their mill, and they're in Ireland. And I just love this color. Again, kind of like a theme, right? Like I got this purple earlier. Well, you'll laugh again because I also got this glittery mohair to hold with it. So I must have just been on like my purple mohair kick this weekend. So I think these will be gorgeous together. I have no idea what I'm gonna make with it. Again, maybe like a shawl or a hat or a scarf or mittens. I've never knit with any sparkly, glittery yarn before. This is 60% kid mohair and 40% silk, and it's the art yarns. If you've knit with this, any thoughts, recommendations? Like, what should I do? Any advice? I'm excited. So that's all of that. End of day, like 1. Then the next day was the first day of the New York Sheep and Wool Festival. And I'm wearing my field day cardigan by Ozetta. I knit this in, pause for the wildlife. I knit this in Swinky DK Magpie Fibers. And I think the Midnight Train to Georgia colorway. It's a bit oversized, but I'm also repping the Fresh Coast Fiber, which is a new yarn, knitting, crochet, fiber festival happening in Traverse City, Michigan next year. So go check it out. And this is my outfit for today. Hey everybody, it's Sarah and I'm on day 2 of Rhinebeck. Wanted to show you my outfit. I'm wearing the Rock Formation shawl by Lisa Haynes in Fiber Story in the color Truffle. Surprised I remembered that. And then I'm wearing my Salty Air tee by Samantha Guerin, and the yarn I used is M1 Yarns, and I don't remember the colorway, but it's this gorgeous red, and we're in this most beautiful setting in upstate New York with the leaves changing, and it's orange and red, and it's my vibes. And I just wanted to share what I was wearing and the scenery of upstate New York with you. We decided to kind of hit the ground running. My friend Jamie is a spinner and she wanted to get kind of first dibs on all the good fleeces that were for sale, and she did get an award ribbon winning fleece. I may insert a picture. And she was very excited about it, and I'm really glad that we got there early enough for her to kind of get like one of her big ticket items, because that's like what the event is about, right? Like, especially when you're with a group of friends, you want everyone to experience the festival the way they want to, and it can be tricky at times to like know what everyone wants to do in the group, but when we like are able to get someone what they wanted, it's just like a really good feeling, you know, like you didn't buy the fleece, like I didn't buy it, but I just feel good doing it. I don't know, that's like a weird tangent, but it's just like a fun thing to celebrate with your friends when they buy something that they really love. Like my other friend Kelly, she bought a backpack that she has wanted from Thread and Maple, and she's just so excited to like get to wear that and take her knitting around, but also just other things. Yeah, it was just, I don't know, good wins. I found New York Sheep and Wool, before I like dive into all the things that I bought, I found New York Sheep and Wool to be like, someone said, I think, like drinking through a fire hose. Like it was just like waves of like people and sweaters and like amazing like vendors and food. The weather was gorgeous if you've seen pictures, but I don't consider myself super introverted or extroverted, but I found at times that it was just really overwhelming. I guess I do get overwhelmed, like sensory wise, a little bit at times. So that did kind of happen, and I just had to sit down. Or what happened quite a bit that first day is I just didn't go into some booths. Like some vendors were just so crowded that I didn't go in. And I made a mental note that I would go back the next day and try to get in and check it out. So that was like a bit of a bummer, but just the reality of going to a big festival like that where literally people are coming from across the country and around the world. I think I saw the head count was like 15,000 people on Saturday went to this. Whew, that's crazy. Okay, so let's see. Just picking up like the last things that I have. Well, first we all pre-ordered the bags. So I got this one. It's huge, if you can't tell. It's like massive. And it's really colorful. The other option they had was the neutral, which is like matching this colors. I just kind of thought, what would my kids do? And they definitely would pick the rainbow strap one, right? And it brings a smile to my face every time I see it. I'm usually much more of a neutral girl, but I'm really glad that, again, I pushed myself, not in a like uncomfortable way, but that I just opened myself up to color and said, you know what, I would love color because I do love color. Anyways, let's see. So I don't know that I'm gonna go in like a day one, day two kind of thing, because I think that's a lot. So I'm just gonna share it all, all the stuff that I got at Rhinebeck in no particular order, because I think the video is already kind of long, and yeah, that's just what we're gonna do. So I went to Thread and Maple, which I've bought from before, and I got these two things. So this is a little, wow, a thing. What is it called? I don't know. But it has, it has little scissors, and it has two different needles for like weaving in your ends. And then in the back, it has this zippered compartment with some stitch markers in it. And I just love this. I have one already, and I wanted another one to just throw in my project bag because I feel like I lose this. Like I don't know. It's always good to have more than one pair of scissors and things like this. And then this is a cute little tape measure. So I got those. To preface this, a lot of what I'm sharing is going to be set aside and wrapped for Christmas and birthday gifts for myself. So in our house, we celebrate Christmas, and my birthday is in January. So it's kind of like back-to-back gifts and celebrating. And this trip was like a gift to me for Christmas and my birthday. You might have just heard my youngest there. And my dog, she's sniffing at the door. So with that in mind, like I told my husband, a lot of things that I buy, I'm just gonna give it to you and you can wrap it, put it under the tree, or shove it in my stocking. Cause like, I don't really need any of these things right away. I will probably keep the yarn that I got for my daughters out to cast on a hat. I mean, how cool would it be if that was like their Christmas gift, right? But everything else, it'll just go under the tree. Like, I did my own Christmas gift shopping, and honestly, I'm not mad about it because this is like my ideal gifts for Christmas. Okay, so the other place we stopped in was the Katrinkles booth, and I have never purchased from them before, but I did this time because all their stuff was so cute. So I bought this little commemorative stitch marker set. One of the stitch markers I'm already using, but it has like a sheep on it. It says like New York sheep and wool, Rhinebeck, and a little skein of yarn and an alpaca, I think. So that's adorable. And then Terry and I bought this cute little like alpaca, llama, however you want to see it, but it has little boots. And those boots say NYSW and then 2025. It says Rhinebeck knocked my socks off. I mean, adorable. Those are stitch markers. Yeah, this might be my favorite purchase. Besides the yarn that I got from my kids, this makes me smile so much. I got this Kitchener Stitch cheat sheet keychain because even though I've done Kitchener quite a few times, I always kind of forget it, and I like to have things written down. I like watch videos, but the way that I learn best and remember is I watch a video and then I write notes, and then when I'm knitting, I read my notes, and then I'm able to, like almost reading a pattern, I'm able to just follow those notes. So I got that, very excited. I also bought these cute stickers. Some sheepy. I hope this is focusing. So these sheep, and then these tiny sheep for probably my water bottles. And then I did get this sticker as well. The Cottontail Farms, which is where I got some of those stickers, they gave me a commemorative Rhinebeck stitch marker and a little Kit Kat, and like, love that. I went to the Utopia bath table and bought lavender and sage with arnica, which is a restorative hand balm. I wish you could smell it. It smells amazing. So if you struggle with any aches and pains, arnica is the way to go. So I was really excited to see this. My mom is very much into homeopathic medicine, so I was no stranger to arnica. And yeah, not much more to say there other than I hope it works and I like the way it smells. I bought this adorable bag. It's very tiny and cute, and it has a bunny on it, and then on the back it has a squirrel. Let's see, who makes this? Red Stagger Wing. The inside is like this really pretty blue tree situation, and it's a like wipeable fabric, like plastic. I don't know exactly what it's called, but I could use this for like bathroom toiletries or knitting. I don't know, but it was really beautiful. They had a couple size options, but again, with my budget in mind, I decided to just go with the smallest and affordable option. Kind of with everything, I just kind of shopped for little trinkets here and there. When I went into this weekend, I thought, okay, the 2 skeins of yarn for my kids, and then accessories and like homeware and things that flesh out my life as a knitter and creative that will make me smile when I use them, instead of just a bunch of yarn that once I knit it, it's like done. I mean, obviously I would wear that garment that I knit, whatever. You get what I'm saying, I think. I also bought a bag from Mabel, Mabel. Makers Always Bring Extra Love is the full name. And it's the quilt Komeburko. It's a Japanese word. Apologies for forgetting. I listened to her pronunciation prior to this and I just went out my brain. But that's no excuse. But anywho, it's this really adorable bag. And it's got a square bottom. And then each side is like a different panel of old quilts that have been recycled. And I've been a longtime follower and fan of her work. I just love the idea of repurposing fabrics like this. And when I saw this bag in particular, I really was drawn to this butterfly on the side because my daughters and I did a garden this year, and it was just a really big part of our year in this home was starting our garden and particularly watching the butterflies and the bees in the garden and picking perennials and plants that attract native butterflies and bees and just help the pollinators in the ecosystem. So that's, I don't know, this just reminds me of where I'm at in my life right now, and it reminds me of my kids. And if I keep talking about it, I'll probably cry. So I will continue on. Okay. Well, I might cry again because I think, yeah, last but not least, no, there's one other thing. But we're winding down here. I went to Holland Hoof Farm Store, and they are based in Ohio, so not too far from here. And they do a lot of ceramic buttons, stitch markers, and other like tchotchkes and notions for us fiber artists and knitters and crocheters. Apologies for that. But I could not resist this adorable ornament for my Christmas tree to commemorate my time at Rhinebeck in the year 2025. I just think it's adorable. They had a bunch of ornaments. They had some like Rhinebeck sweater inspired ornaments and things like that, but the sheep was speaking to me. I also bought buttons. So here we go. I have these moon-shaped buttons and then these turtle buttons. I have only bought buttons once, and it's for my cardigan, which I took with me to Rhinebeck. And so when I was in the booth, I was just kind of talking to myself, but also to other people in the booth and saying, you know, I don't know what I'm buying these buttons for because I have no project in mind. And this person next to me said, that's the best kind. It's never too early or too late to start a button collection. And so this is the start of my button collection. And I bought these because my daughters and I sing a song about the moon. It's a Miss Rachel song, if you're familiar. Like, look up, it's the moon. Look up, it's the moon up in the sky. It's big and round, and I have found that it looks just like a piece of pie. And so when I saw these, I thought of my kids and whether they get them for a sweater that I knit them or I get them for a sweater that I make for myself, I don't know. And then I bought the turtles because my oldest daughter this year, when we went to the zoo, she kind of went through a turtle obsession and would tell me a bunch of facts about turtles. And then last but not least, I asked them in the booth if they had any butterfly things, and they dug these out for me. Look at these cute stitch markers. I mean, I can't. So kind of all the butterflies that I saw in my garden this year. Yeah, really excited about those. And then I'm looking around. The last kind of thing I got was some soap. Apologies for the noise. So I got Rhinebeck Sky. This was from Periwinkles at Rhinebeck. That's a store based in Rhinebeck, New York. Oatmeal, milk, and honey, which is like a go-to of mine. And then I got a bath bomb for my kids. So as you can see, even though I was away from my kids for multiple days, having like a mom's gone wild. I mean, it was not a mom's gone wild trip, but you know what I mean. It was like a trip where I didn't have to take care of anyone but myself. I still was just thinking about my kids and inspired to buy things for them. So let's see. That's like all the stuff that I bought at the New York Sheep and Wool Festival. I went into many booths that I found gorgeous things and thought about buying. I got to squish in person Junction Fiber Mill yarn and Harrisville Designs yarns, two yarn makers that I've really long admired, both, you know, their mill operations, and also with Harrisville, I like a lot of their designs that come out with like their yarn. So I got to look at those things in person. I got to look at a lot of sheep. I watched some of the sheep competitions, which took me back to competing with the alpacas that we had growing up on the farm. And I got to eat the famous Brussels sprouts with the garlic aioli. Those were delicious. The trick there, go before lunchtime, like right before lunchtime, and there's no line or hardly a line. And then my wonderful friend Kelly got us all donuts, and those are like famous apple cider donuts, and she waited a really long time to get them, and I'm so grateful to her for doing that, because otherwise I don't think any of us would have gotten the donut. And so shout out to Kelly for the donuts, and just everyone that I went with for showing me around and being patient with me and loving to me as I experienced my first Rhinebeck. This trip would not have been possible without my friends and the people that I met at New York Sheep and Wool, who were like new to me friends and just people that said hi to me. It was just a really wonderful time surrounded by people who also love to knit and love sheep and love alpacas and llamas and spinning and crochet and weaving, and like the list goes on and on. It was just really inspiring to be there with so many people who like get it, I guess, for lack of a better word. I can't think of another thing like it, really. I mean, obviously there's other yarn festivals and things like that, but I'm trying to compare it to something not knitting related, and I can't. So I'm going to end with one little thing that I picked up while we were in Rhinebeck. We went out to dinner once at where did we go? Somewhere important. Somewhere that if I said it, you would remember. But it's in Rhinebeck. It's like in the heart of downtown. Anywho, we went shopping along the streets of Rhinebeck, and I picked up this little guy or girl or them, they, I don't know. Look at how cute. I haven't, excuse me, I haven't named them yet. So accepting name applications for my little sheep friend who will sit here on my desk and remind me of my great time in upstate New York with my friends. Yay! There's my dog again. We we are actually going to carve pumpkins as a family tonight. So I've got to wrap it up. But thank you for watching me unload all of my Rhinebeck goodies and go on and on about the experience and all the little things that I bought. I hope that you enjoyed it, and stay tuned for my next episode where I'm going to talk all about my works in progress. I have an update on my little rainbow sweater that I have been knitting. I have an update on my baby blanket, my baby socks, and all the like gift knitting that I'm doing, as well as casting on some other fun things that they're going to be surprises. So I hope you'll come back and watch my next episode where I get into all that. And if you celebrate Halloween, happy Halloween, and I'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.